Hi, and welcome to Living Inspired with Autism, the show for parents of autistic children who want to raise kids who feel accepted, confident, and valued for exactly who they are, without burning themselves out in the process. I'm Antoinette. I'm a life coach for parents of autism. I'm mom to my own autistic son, Max. I'm a wife and a business owner as well. And today we're diving into the belief I hear all too often. My child's autism is the problem. If I can fix their behavior, everything will be better. And if this thought has ever crossed your mind, or if you've ever felt pressured by the world around you to believe it, this episode is for you. By the end of today's conversation, you'll know how this belief creates unnecessary suffering, and I'll show you one coaching tool that you can use again and again to shift how you think, feel, and show up as a parent. As parents, we all want what is best for our kiddos. We want them to be happy, we want them to be accepted, and to succeed in life. Now, that's not in question. But when autism enters the picture, the message we receive from schools, from doctors, from family members, even strangers at the grocery store, are loud and consistent. Fix it. Fix the behavior, fix the stimming, fix the communication, fix the noise. And before long, we're on this hamster wheel of therapies and interventions and constant pressure, believing that if we can just make autism less visible, life will finally be okay. But here's the question. At what cost, though? At what cost to your child who begins to feel broken or wrong? At what cost to you who ties your worth as a parent to whether your child fits into society's mold? This is where this coaching tool becomes life-changing. When I did my coaching certification, we did what we call the self-coaching model. And it's simple, it's very simple, but it is so transformative. And it shows us how our thoughts and not our circumstances create our feelings, actions, and results. Ready? This is how it works. We've got our circumstances, which is a neutral fact of life. Everybody can agree to it. For example, in this example, my child has an autism diagnosis. Now, we all have thoughts about that sentence. We think, what does that circumstance mean? For example, we might think autism is the problem. And how does that make us feel? The emotion that that thought creates. Perhaps that brings up hopelessness or shame or anxiousness. And then how do we act? What is our action? What do we do from that feeling? Maybe you overschedule therapies, or you try to find something new that works. Maybe you try to stop your kiddo from stimming, or you compare your child constantly. And the result of all of this, the outcome of all of these actions, is often disconnection. Disconnection from yourself, from your kiddo, and joy. So do you see that? That the one thought, autism is the problem, creates the exact opposite of what you truly want. Now imagine changing that thought. Instead of autism is a problem, let's try autism is a part of my child's uniqueness, or my child's behaviors are communication, or even nothing has gone wrong here. Do you see that the circumstance or the fact hasn't changed? That our kiddos are still autistic, but our thoughts change, which changes everything. Because if you've got a new thought that says, autism is part of my child's uniqueness, you have a very different feeling that comes up. Perhaps you're feeling compassion, perhaps you're feeling curiosity or even pride, or just peace. And from that place, you take a very different action. Perhaps you slow down, you listen, you advocate for your kiddo, you stop rushing to erase the traits, and instead you learn from them. And then your result from those actions is your kiddo feels safe and seen and deeply connected to you, and you feel calmer and more grounded. You see the power of just this one simple model of changing how we think about things. Now, I want to pause here and just make something clear, because this is where parents sometimes misunderstand what I'm saying. When I say autism isn't the problem, I don't mean we ignore the very real challenges that our kids face. Autism does mean that our children often need extra help, whether that's support with communication, sensory regulation, social understanding, or daily living skills. But here's the difference. Saying autism is the problem puts the issue inside of your child. It frames them as broken. But saying, my kiddo needs extra support in this area, keeps the dignity with your child. It recognizes their wholeness while also acknowledging their needs. The one creates shame, the other creates opportunity. And when you see it this way, your role shifts from fixing, in inverted commas, your child to partnering with them. You become that safe base who finds support, who advocates for accommodations, and celebrates the progress without making them feel like they're wrong for needing help in the first place. This is such a powerful reframe, because support doesn't mean problem. Support means love in action. When Max was younger, I really thought autism was actually the problem, because I thought if he could just sit still and stop climbing on everything and stop running away and not make such a mess while he was eating, life would just be a little easier. And I was policing everything, all the behaviors, believing that if I taught him and tried to fix the behavior, the world would accept him. But the result was that we were both just frustrated and exhausted and disconnected. And then I started using the model on myself, and I changed my thought from he needs to change in order for everybody else and myself to feel comfortable, and the world can learn from him. And my job is to make sure he feels safe being himself. Everything shifted because I started laughing more. He relaxed more. Our connection deepened. And autism wasn't the problem. My thinking was the problem. Here's how you can try this today. Write down a challenging situation for yourself. Now, it could be about your kiddo, it could be about life in general, something that's challenging for you. Let's use an example. My child is stimming loudly in the shop. Now, identify the thought that you're having. For example, oh, people are judging us, they're looking at us, this is so embarrassing. Put your head down, tell them to stop. And notice the feeling that thought creates. Maybe you feel embarrassed or shame or anxiety, and see what actions that you take from that feeling. Maybe you snap at your child, or you try to get them to stop, or you rush them out of the store. See what action comes up for you. And then notice your results. You're stressed, you're disconnected, you don't finish your shopping, You don't allow other people to have their opinions. Then shift the thought. Try, this is how my child regulates. I'm glad they know what they need. Now, follow the new model. Your thought is, this is regulation. And when you think this is regulation, how do you feel? Calm and compassionate. And when you feel calm and compassionate, how do you show up? You support your child instead of shutting them down. And when you act in this way, when you support your child feels safe and you feel grounded. That's the work. Sometimes it takes us a while to wrap our brains around this. But if this idea resonates with you, if you're realizing that you have these thoughts, the thought like autism is the problem, and this thought has been running your parenting, I want you to know you don't have to figure this out alone. Now, this is exactly what I do in my one-on-one coaching, is we figure out your thoughts, we figure out how you're feeling, we figure out how you are showing up and what results it creates. So we take the model and I apply it to your unique family, how you're thinking, so that you can create more peace, connection, and confidence. So you'll find the link in the show notes below if you want to chat about this or explore this a little bit further. Okay, so let's circle back. The belief we started with was, and it's a myth, again, my child's autism is a problem. But let me tell you, autism isn't the problem. It's just our thoughts about autism. And suppressing the traits doesn't create acceptance. It creates shame. And recognizing that support doesn't mean something's wrong. It means meeting your child with love. And your child doesn't need fixing. They need honoring. And when you use this self-coaching model to shift your thoughts, you create a home where your child feels safe to be their full, authentic self. And that's where true confidence and independence comes from. Here's my invitation to you. What would shift in your family if you stopped trying to fix your child and instead creating a home that celebrates them? If you're ready to explore that, I'd really love to walk alongside you because you'll find all the details in the show notes. And remember, your child isn't broken. They are whole, they are capable, and they are brilliant exactly as they are. And thank you for joining me today. And if this episode touched your heart, please share it with another parent who also needs encouragement. And don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Till next week. Bye.